My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jan Faria, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paulini, and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready? Play.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the preview shows for, well, we've got both Sabalenka versus Keys, and we also have the Alcaraz versus Draper match. Of course, we've had two preview shows already to do with the Miran Draper versus Swiatek match, and also Aryna versus Medvedev match. If you want to go watch them, please do go watch that video back on our feed somewhere after you've, of course, listened to these two ones. I've been joined today by Damien. If I can point correctly, that'd be even better. Damien, and I've got Jack as well. How are you doing, lads?
Great,
thank you. Yeah, James, keen to talk about the tennis.
Talk about tennis, excellent. Well, we'll start in a chronological order, or what's going to be the future chronological order, because of course this is one of the matches that's going to be taking place in the very small hours of the morning my time. I'm still pretty annoyed at the fact that both the two women's semi-finals are going to be as late as they are, but it is the way. We've been lucky to have a lot of matches during okay times beforehand, certainly for us too. So starting, of course, with the Sabalenka versus Keys match. So I just want you to sort of think, first of all, just going through the matches that they won to get here, so their quarterfinals. So starting off with Sabalenka, Aryna Sabalenka, who was able to get past Lyudmila Samsonova. What did you make of those performances? I'll start with you, Damien.
I mean, she kind of hasn't been pushed all week, right? Maybe Kessler was her toughest match, and that was the very beginning of it. But, well, we're talking about a player who, after winning the Australian Open, had a big lull last year. Now she's kind of avoiding that. She hasn't had the thrillers like against Navarro or Stearns in Indian Wells last year. So I guess she kind of just like sleepwalked through the last three matches, and we don't actually really we didn't get that much intel or anything like that on her. And now this is where we actually start firing up in terms of this event.
So you very much feel as though, because so, like you say, some of the issues that Sabalenka's almost had in the last couple of years is because she's come off the back of winning the Australian Open. She's had that lull going through February, going into bits of March, that we're not really seeing that this year, even though it was a bit of a gutting loss.
Well, we did see it, I guess. Dubai, Doha. I mean,
yeah, they were results. Jack, anything you feel as though about sort of Aryna's performance being this week? I mean, like was pointed out, all of them have been in straight sets. The matches against Bronzetti and Cartel were incredibly one-sided, actually. One-sided affairs. Are we seeing the best of Aryna, or was it very much a good draw almost?
A bit, power disparity maybe in those couple of rounds, and then for Samsonova, I'm sure John is aware that she used to be the kind of player I had picked for a while to kind of come through, and it was her and Zheng, and obviously one has come through. And Samsonova is just perpetually this player who is either way too cold or hot. So Sabalenka not really tested, could have been tested but wasn't. I'm just excited about this one. This is kind of felt like a build up to this semi-final. Obviously, lovely rematch, and hopefully Sabalenka is playing close to her best. I do think that she should do well on these courts. It's going to be about 50-50 though, really, if Keys is playing just as well as she did in Australia. It's super exciting. That's pretty much all I've got to say. It's been a build up to this. It's going to be really exciting. Let's see where she is.
No, I mean, I have to say I watched a bit, certainly when it came to that Bekic match, there was certainly good to now going over to Keys. When it went to that Bekic match, it looked a little bit suspect at parts. She had those good parts of her game in terms of the power of the ground strokes and That was seen in spits and spots during that match. But there were a lot of unforced errors that popped up that Bekic was able to take advantage of. But then following on that, to then go to the quarterfinal where she was able to realistically put Belinda Bencic, who, let's not forget, was able to absolutely demolish Coco Gauff. I say demolish. Was able to really put up a strong fight and beat really well Coco Gauff in the previous round. Yeah. To beat her as well as she did there. I mean, do you two have any feelings of how that may show that are we seeing a level that's similar to what she was able to produce in Australia?
The only thing I'll say quickly is sometimes you get that feeling with players after you watch the tournament. It's like, they had that round where they just survived and they kind of scraped through and then they found their feet. It's almost that second wind feeling where Keys can now just like, I should be out of the tournament maybe. It was a little bit of a rough match. I just managed to scrape through, but here I am. And then she just like goes for it against Bencic. And honestly, that's kind of tipping me in the favour of Keys a little bit for this semi-final. I do think maybe she'll just feel a little bit freer and that could be enough to squeak the semi-final. We'll see.
Yeah, the absolute demolition you mentioned, that was more Bencic Keys for sure than Keys against than Bencic against Gauff. But yeah, I mean, it was just kind of like a match where other than serve return, there's nothing happening because she's just killing every single point into free shots. Yeah, I mean, she's survived even not only Vekic but also Mertens this week. That was a match where she should have won like more comfortably. But it's like very different scenarios in the matches, and yet she's still coming out on top. I do love the fact that she didn't play at all in February. Like, I know that maybe she wanted to appear in Austin and then couldn't because of the stupid rules, but basically, like, what it gave her was a lot of time to recover mentally, physically.
Like, who needs to like put up some kind of fight to get that changed? I mean, there must be.
The 250s. I mean, I don't know if the tour wants to kill its own events. Then I guess they have to have some sort of a voice. But if they're 250s, there's probably not like a common, line of communication between them. So it's the situation is a bit doomed. And perhaps that's why we sometimes see the calendar on the WTA circuit being not quite as full as we would love it.
I saw something somewhere that was to do with I know we're kind of going off topic, but it's a cool off topic to go down. About for a 500 event compared to a 250 on a WTA tour, a tournament or an event, it costs 2.5 times more to get that 500. License effectively in the tour comparative to getting a 250. And I think a few of these events would much rather prefer, if they could, to purchase a 250 license, spend a boat ton on appearance fees on top players, so that extra money that they're having to spend on getting to a 500 level, and then work it that way. But as I said, that would then it's as a counter argument. It's almost like going, well, they need to create some sort of protectionist measure to ensure that players are incentivized and they're sort of pushed towards the 500s, which are the big events that the WTA Tour are trying to try and put forward. But it is a real annoyance, especially when we looked at what happened in that week of Austin, where in reality, when it came to numbers of people that were in the crowds, when it came to the quality of tennis, the 250 in Austin was actually better than the 500 in Meridia, objectively. And there are a lot of really good 250 tournaments on the WTA Tour that could warrant better, that are able to bring in better crowds, that are able to potentially have better tennis being played there and more exciting tennis, but have kind of been hamstrung by the fact that there was a 500 in the same week that is taking all the best players.
I mean, more so it's the entry rules, right? The fact that, well, basically top 30 players cannot play 250s unless in specific circumstances. And with that, I mean, if you're planning to organize a 250 and you know that basically no one from the top 30 will appear, how are you going to get people to show up at your event in most settings, in most cities? So, yeah, I mean, they killed the 250s, but, well, maybe for Madison Keys in the end, that actually worked out fine. She got even more time to recover mentally, physically, and now she's like literally backfiring, no first slam title hangover whatsoever.
And it's sorry not to butt in again, but it's one of the things that a lot of players say, that I think I remember Andy Murray saying it, that after he won his first Grand Slam title, he didn't feel as though he had enough time to really enjoy it and savor the fact that he won it before having to get straight back onto the treadmill and then worrying about the next big tournament or the next big event. That Madison Keys has kind of done the opposite to that. She's gone, do you know what? I've won the Grand Slam. I'm going to take the entirety of February off to really enjoy the fact that I've won my first ever Grand Slam title, and then really come back to the tour refreshed and ready to go. And just sort of lean onto that agreement that it's really good to see that she's come back and has already made the semi-finals of a very big WTA 1000 event at the moment.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think a lot of people are taking experience from or the kind of stories of people in the past and learning from that. I mean, I think as we get deeper into the decade, into the century, even it wasn't talked about. Even maybe 10 years ago, the mental toll it can have on players. Obviously, we've got Team and Saka and these players kind of talking about their burnout, and it wasn't really talked about as much. And maybe it is a factor. I don't know. Maybe people are just thinking you don't have to get straight back on the treadmill. You can just wait a bit, take care of yourself before you start back up again. It could make a difference. I don't know. But Key seems pretty chill. I think she probably would have done this, whatever the case. If this was 20 years ago, if it was 10 years ago, whatever. I think she probably would have done what's best for her either way. Yeah.
I'm not sure that's true. And I think it's actually especially important with her sort of career trajectory, having that slam title that she missed out on in 2017, everybody talking about it for years, and then only really getting it once she said herself that she only really got it once she accepted that she might never win it. So, for her, I think that sort of rest time after her first slam might have been even more important. And just not to be, involved in another event 2 weeks later seems to have done the trick. So good for her, and should be an awesome semi.
So you think she did kind of take the pressure off a bit of herself then, do you mean?
With what?
Well, the feeling that she didn't have to win one, she might not win one. Do you feel?
I mean that's I'm just quoting her. I'm literally just quoting her. So I think that's definitely kind of the mindset that she was able to internalize at some point. And by this point, she's won a Grand Slam. That was always the goal. And now probably the pressure doesn't really kick in again until she's winning the French and she can win a calendar Grand Slam or something like that. So. Or the win streak 30 wins. So
I think you may have heard it here first. Damien saying that Madison Keys is going to win a career Grand Slam. We'll get that clipped and saved somewhere. I'm for sure. Thankfully, John has got up the head-to-head that currently exists. As we know, that the last time they met was, of course, the Australian Open final. When Madison Keys was able to win in 3 sets there. I think it was 7-5 in that last set. And also before as well, actually, in 2024, Madison Keys was able to get the better of Sabalenka. So the last 2 times they played, even though that Sabalenka has 4 wins, those victories. Oh no, I seen that the wrong way around. Actually, scratch that. Sorry.
Yeah, she didn't win in 24. Yeah.
That unfortunately, the way in which that head-to-head looks, it reads a little bit weird because the names are on the top and the bottom, and you actually have to look where the line is to suggest who's won. So maybe, although we know that the WTA have got this new look, maybe they need to still relook at their website just to make sure it's a little bit more clearer of who has actually won the match.
This is very quickly turned into an episode of WTA is doing a horrible job.
That was never the case. That was never the intention. So leading on to this match now. So I know the courts have been mentioned. I know, Jack, you mentioned the courts. What do you think is going to be the key factor that could decide this match tonight?
I thought it was an unintentional pun there, James. The keys factor. I think confidence. A lot of the time, but I think they hit the ball as big as each other. Maybe Sabalenka, it's a little bigger sometimes, but it's 6.5 dozen really. What way this goes, I think whoever has the better start, whoever feels it the most in the day. I'm tempted to say that Key should have a bit more confidence. That's just why I'm going for her. I've not got much else to it, not complicating it. I'm just siding with her, maybe 60-40 is my feeling.
60-40, so you're going for Keys. Damien, what are you going for?
reasonably big edge, actually. I mean, I'd just go much closer, but yeah, if I have to say one thing, maybe keys as well. Sabalenka, I mean, I know it's 4-2, but there was also that US Open match, and she does kind of tend to struggle against players who maybe don't necessarily hit with like heavier than her, but maybe just simply take the racket away. Some can basically produce slightly faster timing. Like, I don't know, Pavlyuchenkova at the Australian Open, and just in general in that matchup, she also has a pretty poor one against Vekic, Anisimova, and the likes. Like, yeah, I do think there's definitely a path to victory for Madison. She's uber confident at the moment, and I guess I trust her just a tiny bit more. But yeah, I mean, it's obvious that she's also way more. There's way more risk involved in her game.
And I very much feel as though, sort of linking on to what you said, that the ability that Keys has to sort of soak up the Sabalenka power, and it's going to be even more critical on a court in which she's going to have more time to be able to suck up that power. With the Indian Wells courts being slower than the usual hard courts that we have throughout the year. To me, just gives us that sort of 60-40 edge in my mind to Keys to be able to win this match. And just leading on from that, do you think which one of these two on this court would you think would be the better placed person maybe to beat a Swiatek who is looking good potentially to be able to take the title again?
Maybe
I'd love to see Keys play Swiatek. That's what I'm gonna say. Like, that's the more intriguing matchup at the moment.
Yeah. Sabalenka, Swiatek epics. I quite like that, to be fair. I'm tempted to say I prefer to see that, but I think if Keys is as confident as I'm kind of expecting her to be, maybe she's got the better chance. But yeah, I would like to see a Sabalenka Swiatek matchup.
I think although we were kind of blessed for that period on the clay court swing, when it came to the two finals in Madrid and Rome, between those two of Sabalenka and Swiatek, we haven't really seen it for a while, especially on a hard court. So it'd be excellent to see those two duke it out for the Indian Wells title if possible. But as I think you say, it may be a case that Keys may be the better suited at this stage on this court at the moment to potentially make that match. If it was to be Swiatek, of course, she has to get through Mira Andreeva beforehand to sort of make it as a bigger match as possible to have the potential of maybe an upset and a new winner on the women's side.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.